And that's what I think a lot of companies get in trouble with is they try and standardize everything and they fit all different types of people who lead all different types of way into the same square. Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso, and my experience and expertise is in scaling all types of medical businesses to 7, 8, and 9 figures. And I'm sharing my journey to having multiple 8-figure businesses and hopefully someday have that 9-figure exit. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. It's telling you how I did this. I want to help you build your business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work. And let's just get into it today, guys. We're just going to get right into it. And so I have seen Miss Amanda May, my co-host and now executive in our company, grow and really expand not only her confidence, but her competence over and over and over through the past 4 years she's been with us. And even before then, we talked about how she's done it in the past. And today, that's kind of what we're going to talk about, right?
Let's do it.
We're going to talk about the challenge of building both confidence and competence in your team and how you can help that. Now, I'm not going to take credit for everything that Amanda May has done on her, but like, oh yeah, it's because of me, because I brought her to the promised land. She's so smart the way she is. It is because she's female and I'm a male and much smarter. Your brain is smaller. It's just science. But no, that being said, a leader's success 100% hinges on their team's growth, their ability to go along with you. And you want to make sure you're fostering an environment where you're both going to thrive. Your staff is going to thrive. They're going to increase their confidence. They're going to increase their competence. And as a result of that, you yourself as a business owner and as a leader, you are going to increase in your confidence, increase in your competence, and you're going to thrive. It's mutually beneficial. So let's get into this. Okay. So one of the first things that we had to do in Genesis that we've done is creating clear expectations and providing like structured training. Now, when I was running everything at the beginning, before you came on and helped us, it was kind of a hodgepodge. We had multiple different companies, multiple different EMR systems, electronic medical record systems, multiple different Google Sheets. Everybody had a little bit of a different paperwork, and I tried to clean that up as much as we could. But still, when you came on, we had a Google Drive that really had folders for every single service, but was still not really a put together type of system or idea. And then you helped create what we have now, that vision of the onboarding, the training. So tell me why and how you structured it that has helped Genesis now, because you did this.
Yeah, well, it's creating a framework and a structure is exactly it. And really being able to have the tools necessary for the team in an easily accessible space so that they can get their own questions answered. Not that you can't ask questions of your leaders because they're there for that, but encouraging team members, if you have a question, first see if you can find the answer. But we have to give them a place to go to try to find the answer. So there's been a stair-stepper approach to get to where we are. Years ago, when we first started this process of organizing and getting a structure in place, we started out with a program called Asana, which I was very familiar with. And it was more like a task list. So everything then at least got pulled from different places in Google Drives. And I had to ask different executives like, hey, do you have something for this? Do you have something for that? And, fill in the gaps of what felt like was missing to get it all into one place. So it was like, if they needed to know about aesthetics, anything aesthetics related, I had uploaded all of our video content to YouTube. So every video has a link. Like if somebody wants to know how to do Botox, how to do the frontalis, or how to do the crow's feet. There's specific videos they can click on. It's going to take them to one place, which is that video on our YouTube channel. So organizing all of that and getting it in one place, but then also going on the website for Allergan and pulling any documentation that we can. So what else can we provide that's written material? You know, you've done trainings, we've sent other people to trainings. What documents have they come back with, and how do we put that in the same place? So you start to build out the entirety of the service, start to finish, that somebody could have a question on, and they can read it. So people learn different. Some people like to read, some people want to watch videos. So we have a little bit of everything. And so that I started outlining everything in Asana by service or by specific need, like leadership. When we would have our calls and Sean was doing leadership training, I would take everything he wrote and put it into a file, like step one, this is what he said. Step two, this is what he said,
Mhm.
and make it a document somebody could actually look through and learn and pass on to their team. So it started out in Asana as more of like a task list, but really an organizational tool. And then as we grew, we realized this wasn't great to figure out if somebody was actually consuming the material or in what order, or that they could get bonuses if they completed certain trainings. And so we moved to a talent management system. That's Genesis University. But I think the stair stepper approach was good because we had to first get it all in the right place, see what we were missing. And then I created a lot of things, like we started to do the Genesis Way documentation. What does it look like when we have a new hire, or when we're writing somebody up, or if somebody wants time off? Like, we had to create all of those things. And by having the information all in one place, we could see what were we missing. And so then going in and developing material that we were missing along the way so that we could have a more robust, a more cohesive training and A to Z package as far as everything we offer, and then how those things could be communicated to our teams easily, how they could be searched easily if somebody had a question. And now with the Genesis University, the talent management system that we're using, people can get badges if they're doing a certain number of trainings, or we can assign certain people trainings, or they can actually go in and search for their own type of training. So if somebody wants to learn more about leadership, they can search leadership. We don't necessarily have to tell somebody, hey, go do leadership training. They can take that initiative on their own and go find the training that they're looking for.
Absolutely. And that's taken years and years for us to develop. So this isn't something, guys, that you're going to have overnight, but it's something that you need to think of sooner rather than later. The
Mhm.
soonest you could possibly do it, the better for your team. And whether you're just starting or pre-concept starting, or you're 10, 20 years into it, if you don't have this, you need to go back and create it. Standard operating procedures are going to be your bread and butter to scaling, period. And like Amanda was saying, we've developed it and created it in multiple different platforms, meaning we have audio, we have visual, we have, PDF form if they want to, if they want to read it. We have the video form if they want to watch it. All the different ways, trying to pull in as many senses as possible to make sure that they get reps over and over and over and over and over. They get to practice. And so when you're practicing and watching the video over and over and over, they're going to get good at executing. One of the greatest phrases I've heard is confidence is a byproduct of competence. When
Mm.
now I walk on stage in front of a crowd, I'm not nervous anymore. People ask, are you nervous when you go up there? No. Why? Because I'm confident that I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I believe Alex Hormozy said it once on a podcast. People ask him, and people ask people, are you nervous to do this? Are you nervous to step on stage? Are you nervous to do this or that? If you are nervous, it means that you did not prepare well enough.
Mm.
That's all that means. If you're nervous or scared about something, it's because you are unprepared. You are not prepared for if the teleprompter or the screen goes down. You're not prepared if you don't have your your cue cards in front of you. You're not prepared for this or that or this or that, and that's what makes you nervous. If you knew everything you were going to say, you've talked about it or done it 1,000 times. You've practiced it over and over and over. You practice it while you're asleep. You practice it while you're awake. And you've gotten to the point where somebody could literally wake you up out of bed at 3 a.m. and be like, hey, you're going on stage right fucking now, 15 minutes, put some socks on and get up there.
Just socks.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it'll be a wild ride. Just put those socks on and get the fuck up there. Yeah. If you can't do that, then you haven't prepared enough. You haven't. And that's where that nervous comes from, the unknown of like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Yeah, because you're not ready. You haven't prepared yourself for it.
Well, you hear people say like, "Oh, you're nervous. You're taking it serious," and I don't necessarily believe that, because I think people can confuse nervousness for excitement. It's like at this point you might not feel any. I mean, it's not like you're going up there and you just feel nothing. You're a stoic, and it's just like, no, you're feeling something, but instead of it being nervous, you could be excited for what you're about to go do and say and the impact that you're going to have.
Exactly. No, it definitely changes. When you are confident, you're educated, you're going to go up there, or you're going to, go into work and you're going to kill it, then that's when it turns into excitement. So making sure that you guys have a good structured training program, focus on developing people's skills, but also focused on core values, because our onboarding system has our core value videos attached to it. They have that all on there as part of our onboarding, what our core values are and why we have them. It's on there.
Yeah. And we detailed sales training. It's got everything. I remember putting together, it was like a 120-page document, start to finish, everything that has to do with every service that we offer. So it needs to be detailed and written in a way that anybody can understand it. It needs to be simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it, all these scientific things that is going to go over people's heads. Make it easy, but make it detailed. And so that way, and then you can do the videos with it. That's always a great added bonus, because there's a diagram that talks specifically about this. And it is the idea that we remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, and 30% of what we see. So combining all of those, which is not great numbers with how much we actually remember. But if you can address seeing something, reading something, and hearing something in your training, you're going to at least get higher percentages of what people will remember. But that being said, also making sure people have access to go back and review, and making that continued education a part of your company culture, because they are going to forget. And then things are changing so quickly within a business that as you roll out new things, they need to be reminded. And so, a system like Genesis University is great for that, because people can keep going in there and looking. And as a leader, it's good to not only encourage, but even make it mandatory. I mean, I have to continue my education to keep my licensing. So why aren't we doing that for our employees anyway? Make sure that they're competent in what they're doing. And the way to do that is making sure that they have the information, they understand their job, their responsibilities, why, and then how to execute that.
No, you're 100% right. And that's where the gap between the 10, the 20, the 30%, and the 100% comes in, is the repetition. So when you've created it and they can listen to it 10, 15, 20 times, then it goes from 10% to 15% to 25% to 30% remembering. Same thing with vision. It goes from 30% to 50% to 70% when they're able to do it over and over and over. And again, you hit on a great point. You're going to have to make it mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
When people come on to Genesis, the training is not optional. It was mandatory training. When Sean in our HR department says, hey, this person, you need to take this class, that's mandatory. You have 2 weeks to get that done, or he's following up and making sure that he's following up. And if you don't do it, you get written up.
Mhm.
Like, that part has to be corporate, but at the same time, we have to hold people to standards and make sure that they're getting trained at the next level. Because again, the training is going to lead to more education, and the more education they have, the more confidence they have.
And that comes across to our clients. You know, when somebody walks in the door, you're going to drop thousands of dollars on, let's say, a weight loss program. You want to know that the people that are treating you are confident in what their job is and also in the results that you're going to get. And that comes across when somebody is communicating with you. So if your team is unprepared, you know, it comes from the top down. What are you doing? What do you not have in place? What do you have in place? Where can you make those improvements so that you've got everything that they need so that they can be successful, which in turn is going to make them happier in their job. It's going to make them more money, and it's going to make your company more successful.
Confidence sells. Sales is literally making sure that your sales team is more confident that their solution is going to solve the client's problem than the client is confident that you're full of shit. Like, whoever has the highest level of confidence is going to be the one that wins. And if they're convincing you as a client that they don't need it, it's because they're confident that you don't have a solution for their problem.
Mm.
And that's where the education comes in, and making sure that your staff is empowered with those solutions and they know about the solution so that they can talk about it. And the second part is making sure that when they are doing that, when they are presenting the solutions, when they are evaluating your clients, and when they are speaking to them, that you are inspecting it, you're auditing it, because you have to expect what you inspect. So if you're not listening to their calls, if you're not training them, step by step, every step of the way, don't expect them to be fucking good at their job. Don't expect them to know what you want them to do.
Well, we are just running into some of that now. And as we've built out a lot of this and we've made an incredible amount of progress over the last 4 years, there's always new levels to get to. And, this week alone, we're like, how can we create a structured email that our teams can use? Because the reality is a lot of them don't know how to communicate properly through email. And these emails tell our clients, especially like I'm thinking pre-purchase, whether or not they can be confident in what we offer. And if the emails are structured incorrectly or run on sentences or hard to read or hard to understand, people are not going to be like, yeah, let me sign up and pay you.
Yep.
It's just, you're going to lose it. So, there's a lot of places along the sales process somebody can fall off, which if you haven't listened to our other podcasts about the closer method, do that, because we go into that in more detail. But it's like, that's a super important part too. So as we get more granular with our SOPs, now we're getting into some of the detail stuff, like how are they communicating on the phone? What are they supposed to say? What are they not supposed to say? How are they communicating and formatting emails? How should it look? What should it say? What should be included? And really creating even an SOP for that level of communication, like sending texts or sending emails. And, so there's always new levels with how deep we go into creating this confidence. But the more we can look at where might people not feel confident in their job and how can we come in and support that process for them, the more confident our teams are going to be.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct with that. And when they are more confident, you are able to give them more autonomy than you normally would. At the beginning, obviously, if you come into my company, I'm not going to just say, hey, you do whatever the fuck you want. You have full autonomy and full reign. And a lot of employees think that that's how it works. Not in our company, again, but I hear about it from other companies where they come in and they're like, this, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. Like, this is how I do it. No, you're fucking not.
Mm.
When you come into our company has a structure for succeeding. Now, we have an open door policy. You come up with ideas and everything like that. Absolutely. But Brent's been in this for 16 years. I've been in it for a little over 5 years. Again, now it's not a lot, but okay, I've built a $100 million company in that time. I think I know what the fuck I'm talking about. If you're going to come into that, then you better make sure that we're working together to create something that is going to give you the autonomy. But you're not going to get autonomy day one. You're going to prove to me that you can do it. You're going to prove to me that you can hit X, Y, and Z and do the requirement, the base of the pyramid to succeed. Because I guarantee your old job did not have the heavy core values we have. Your old job did not have the heavy training that we have. Your old job did not have, $5 million worth of marketing that we spend on. That they just didn't. I know they didn't. And we want to make sure that you're succeeding in the model that we've created, but at the same time, if you prove that, you will then build that autonomy. You will be able to do those things. And Brent and I always say, the beginning has to be the same and the end result has to be the same. So the beginning is like that training and everything that you've helped build. It's the same. The end result is sales and obviously growth of the company. In between, Brent and I really don't give a fuck. We don't. As long as you get your work done, we ask 10 different executives to do something, all 10 will do it differently, or at least a little bit of a variation. Doesn't matter. Whatever works for them to get the end result. Again, the vacation versus the plane ride in the middle. I don't care how the plane ride is. Some people could take a G5 jet. Some people could take, first class, and some people could take Spirit Airlines where they got to bring their own chair onto the plane. Like, it doesn't matter in the middle. As long as the end result is the same and the beginning, what we told them in terms of a structure, we communicated it, they got their onboarding is the same, cool. Let the middle be the middle. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, and that allows them to lead. That allows them to grow. And some people think, well, it's not structured. So at the top level, when you are a multi-million-dollar company, you can't still have that. Yes, you fucking can. And that's what I think a lot of companies get in trouble with is they try and standardize everything and they fit all different types of people who lead all different types of way into the same square, the same hole. In one of those children's boxes, you have the star and the square and the whatever, the rectangle. And there's that one hilarious TikTok video where they have that box and they all the pieces fit into like the rectangle or fit into the square. I don't know if you've seen that. All the pieces, and it's a reaction video. So the girl that's watching it is being driven crazy because it's like, where does the star go? Yes, in the square. Like they all fit into the square section. But that's what corporate companies do is they fit all of the different stars and rainbow shapes and rectangles and whatever. I'm not a geometry major into the square. And then they expect them all to succeed at a very high level. And that does not work out. So the autonomy is where you got to sometimes let people go. Let them have autonomy. Let them have responsibility. Because if you don't, then guess what? You're always going to have to fucking babysit that person. Because they're going to be afraid to do anything. They're going to be afraid to be empowered because when they do, they either get yelled at or they're being told that's like, that's not how we do it here, even though their result was the same or better. It's the fucking child's math homework nowadays that they solve the problem just because they could solve it in their head and the teacher marks them down because they have to show your work. Fucking why? That person, that kid is going to get paid twice as much because they could just fucking do it in their head rather than write everything fucking down about how they did their work. I don't fucking care how you did your work. I care if you got the right answer.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not fucking cheating, if you could do it in your head and you could get the right answer faster than everyone else, I want that kid on my team, not the fucking kid that has to write it all out. Period.
Well, you allowed that space for me, and that's, going back to what you said at the beginning, is you've watched my confidence and competence build, or competence come and then confidence come too. Um, and with the system, when I was like, hey, I think we can organize this and pull this together, and we started working on getting the structure in place. You guys gave me the autonomy. How do you want to do this? Where do you want to do it at? What do you want it to look like? And then after doing it all, we realized it wasn't going to be the best system for what we needed long term. So we redid it all. But it was like that process was good. It helped organize everything. But even in that, it wasn't like, oh, you picked the wrong thing, we should have done it this way from the beginning. It was like we took it as one, a learning, but also a stepping stone as far as getting everything put together and seeing where the gaps were. But it was like, it wasn't our end result. So I think also it's important as a leader to allow for some of that flexibility, not being like an oak tree where the wind blows and you're not moving, but like a palm tree, like, there's some sway there. There's some movement that naturally happens, and not necessarily going to find the right answer the first time every time, but allowing each of those steps, as long as it's not hurting the business and there's still business growth. Like there was still growth in using Asana. But it wasn't the ultimate end all be all for what we really needed. And so, that gave me more confidence into like competence in putting everything together, understanding the business, because I went through like every document in the company. So I know like the ins and outs of the company on a very granular level. But it's like, okay, well, what are we looking for next time? And how do I ask the right questions to figure out, is it really going to give us what we want? Like right now, we're trying to find a platform that we can upload all the photography into,
Mhm.
all of our before and afters. Well, how do we, what? Now I know a little more. Like now I know what kind of questions do I need to ask of these platforms to see if this is going to be good to scale the company. And so that gives me a different level of confidence in my conversations and in making sure I make decisions that are going to be good for the long term vision of the company and not just kind of those short term needs.
Absolutely. No, you want to avoid micromanagement. Once people have started to prove that they can do it, and if you give them autonomy, they can run with it, then just get out of their fucking way. It might not be the same thing that you envisioned, but it's going to be pretty damn good or even better. Now, Asana was phenomenal for what we needed at that time. We didn't have a training system. We didn't have a checkbox system. We didn't have any of that. And so Asana was great. And then the learning management software came around, and it's like, okay, this is even better. We could do this and use it for this, this, and this, and eliminate two different programs that were running simultaneously, and just use, the Genesis University. But again, that's part of innovation, where we're going to get better and better and better systems, and you've built them to be better and better over time. But that was with us avoiding micromanagement. We didn't tell you what to do or how to do it. I didn't even know how to fucking use it. I still don't know how to use Asana. Like, I didn't know how to use it, but the important people that needed to know how to use it used it. The managers, the people hiring, you guiding them. I couldn't fucking log in, and I know Brent never logged in.
Mm-mm. No,
Like,
I got notices.
yeah. We never fucking logged in. So it was like we didn't need to, though, because
Yeah.
that wasn't micromanaging. I didn't go in there and be like, well, this needs to be here and here and here. All I heard from the feedback from the clinics, which is like, yeah, this program's great. You should all be using it. And now we have Genesis University. It's the same thing at the next level. Like, I know how to log in. I don't take the courses because I fucking build the courses, or I did the videos for the courses. I know what they say. And so we're consistently improving upon that and making sure that you're encouraged to make those decisions on the fly to enhance our customer experience, to enhance our staff, to enhance our trainings, and make our team as a whole better, because that's part of our core values, is the teamwork and building that culture up.
Well, something that you talked about, the second thing was fostering the feedback and mentorship side of it. I think we should unpack that a little bit more, because we just kind of skimmed on that. It's like, how do you integrate feedback into the culture? but then not make it just about fixing mistakes and make it also like about nurturing growth and a positive thing.
So one of our core values is accountability, and accountability is, owning essentially everything that goes wrong or that we need to fix in the company, and saying, hey, this is on us to fix and improve these things on a consistent basis. And if you want to go really extreme with it, obviously there's a book called Extreme Ownership. It's written by Jocko Willink, and he has the concept that whatever goes wrong in your company, it's the fault of the leaders, which I think is a great concept. I 100% agree. It's like, and sometimes when I'm down on an employee or I'm down on a teammate, and I'm thinking, fuck, is what the hell's going on here? I start to have to say, okay, well, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Did I train this person wrong? Did we set up our marketing wrong? What are we doing wrong? There's got to be something wrong on our end that this person isn't succeeding. And very rarely has it been, well, that person's just an idiot. Very, very, very rarely. Like, very rarely. So it's never that. Just focus on that not being the case. The rest of the time, it's, okay, what are we doing wrong? And how can I really take that on as a leader? And so cultivating that and that feedback is accountability. Like, hey, I'm going to hold you accountability. I'm going to hold you accountable for your actions. I'm going to give you feedback, but that feedback is always to help you improve. That feedback is always to help you get better. And at the same time, making sure that we have that mentorship where a new hire, if they're an MA, they're paired with the best MA in that clinic for the next 90 days. Salesperson, they're paired with the best salesperson in that clinic for the next 90 days. Nurse practitioner or provider with provider. And they're in their pocket. They're learning everything from them as much as possible. And that puts a lot of trust into the staff we currently have, in that they're not just going through your onboarding and training and then thrown and been like, do it. That's a part of it. Yeah. But we trust our staff and our culture that the next person coming in is going to be trained by somebody who is living our core values and our culture and can impart that to the next generation. And that's a lot of trust that you have to have, but you also have to forcibly build a lot of that core values and making sure that you're hiring good people and elevating good people and firing people who are against your core values instantly, because you just don't have time for it. You don't have time. I don't have time to trust that my clinic directors are training their teams right. I don't have time to think about that in the back of my head and have that be a worry. So we need to have those mentorships and then regular check-ins. We have an open door policy, Brent and I. So if there's ever any problem or issue in a clinic, they could come directly to us and ask a question or say, hey, I have this issue. Can you help me solve it? And we will 100% figure out what's going on and step in if we have to, fire people, move people, retrain people, have people communicate better, etc. All that is part of what we do, and making sure that if you're not getting feedback, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's not what we do. Growth is one of our core values.
So speaking of growth, when somebody has shown a certain level of competence, what's the tipping point? What's the indicator for you that you can be confident in what they're doing, that they can now go out and either share that with the rest of the team or start making decisions that are going to impact the company?
Well, it's always cautious optimism. So you want to give them increasing levels of autonomy, increasing levels of the ability to make suggestions and improvements and things like that. And we've talked about this before. If your spouse doesn't trust you or doesn't believe you're going to make it, it's because 9 out of 10 times you probably have done something to where they can't trust you. Spent money stupidly, had a dumb business idea, etc. It's the same with your teammates. If somebody like you, Amanda, has done things over and over and over and successfully done them and improved upon them and made my life easier. Essentially, if you want to make more fucking money, make the owner's life easier. The easier you make the owner's life, the more money you will fucking make. And if your boss sucks and is not going to make you more money, you're going to go somewhere else and make the other boss's life easier, and you're going to make more money. Wherever you are, you make the boss's life easier, you will make more fucking money. You will be elevated in the company. And you've done that over and over and over for years and years. And so that's when you start, that's it, as a leader, you start to be able to tell, Amanda, hey, can you do this? And whatever you come up with is going to, I know is going to be something successful or towards what we want in the end. And there might be some feedback here and there, but it's not going to be like, I'm not going to have to come down after you working on something and being like, what the fuck did you do? I don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
Because you've built up that ability and shown that you could be successful over and over. So as a business owner, that's what you're looking for in your employees. That's what you're looking for in your team. Those people who are doing things right over and over and over and being successful over and over and over and going above and beyond over and over and over, because then you're like, okay, I know if I tap this person, it's going to get done right. And that's what you need to recognize in your team. And there are those people who are there who are doing that. And you need, if they want it, because a lot of people will want it, if they want that next level of responsibility, that ability to be involved in it more, be a clinic director, be a leader, et cetera, then you got to provide that opportunity. You got to give them that opportunity, because if you don't, they're going to go somewhere else where they will get that opportunity. You can't be mad at them for that.
Yeah. So it's little steps along the way of watching somebody grow in competence. And then you see their confidence building. And that's when you can trust them, let's say, with even more. Well, talking about autonomy and building confidence and competence, something that Zappos does that is really kind of cool is they encourage their people to make decisions on the fly that will enhance customer experience. And so, is there anything like that in Genesis that you give space for to kind of build that level of confidence within somebody's role?
Yeah, we do it in every single location. I mean, they have, so Ritz-Carlton has a $2,000 no questions asked spend that every employee, they could spend $2,000 on any of the people staying at the Ritz-Carlton to solve a problem. And so we do the same, but it's like $500. And a lot of people, I think, they're still scared to do it, which is fine. But that being said, when it comes to the actual customer experience, like, we let people do, if they want to do a certain type of scent in the office, they want to do lighting, they want to do music. We highly encourage music in that customer experience. Anything to make the customer experience better, we encourage them to do 100%. And some of the girls will just buy little things for themselves and put it in the office. But a lot of times they'll ask us like, hey, can we do this or can we do that? And we'll say, absolutely, you can. I am more than willing to spend as much money as we need to enhance the customer service to a level that more people will buy. That doesn't mean I'm going to go buy random shit or stuff that really isn't needed, that it's just like, it's cool that we have this, but it doesn't make any money. Everything has to have something tied to the back end of it, of why we buy it. But that being said, yeah, absolutely, everybody has the ability to enhance the customer experience. And especially when it comes down to the packages of what we sell, they can add bonuses in there. They have free reign to change the pricing a little bit to make it work for that client coming in.
That's a really great point. So it's not always about like the other things outside of what you offer that you have to buy to make the customer happy. But sometimes it's just about offering a little bit more of what you already do, like stacking those bonuses, if you will, when somebody's purchasing a package, like allowing the team member to decide, okay, this is what I want to do. That gives space for autonomy, and that does build a level of confidence. Like, I closed the sale. This is how I did it. This is what I had to offer. And the next time they go into a sales consultation, they're going to know, like, okay, I can play with this a little bit, or if I add this, I know it's going to work. So it gives them that chance to build the confidence themselves, even in those sales roles.
Absolutely. And it's that, you're cultivating a team environment when it comes to that. It's not like again, the training in the beginning is like, hey, this is how we do it. This is what we do it. This is why we do it, etc. But you have the opportunity, if you prove yourself, to work to get, we're going to work together to improve our services always. We're going to improve the way we do things always. And teamwork is one of our core values. So you want to consistently build that team environment and make sure that the team is supporting each other and making those, connections or making those changes as well.
Yeah, one of the things that they did in the Dallas clinics, I know the girls are so excited about the girls, ladies, they're not girls, they're not young,
Yeah.
they're women. The women were excited
Yeah.
about was the coffee maker.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they were so excited about coffee maker. But it's not only was it good for our team members because they had the coffee maker and they didn't have to order Starbucks in every afternoon, which saved them money, but it also was great for the customer experience. I remember going in for I don't know if I was there for a treatment or a training. I don't remember exactly, but first thing I did, I was like, "We got any coffee in here?"
Hmm.
I even was excited about like getting my cup of coffee when I went into the clinic.
Yeah.
And so it's like if I was excited about it, that our customers, our clients are excited about that too. It's just something small, but it does make a big difference.
Yeah. Well, water, tea, or coffee. What would you like when you come in? It's very different. And it's just something extremely small, extremely easy that you can provide a service for. And it's not expensive. Buying water, coffee, a coffee maker with coffee and tea bags is super cheap, less than
Mhm.
$100, probably a month to buy all those things.
Yeah.
But again, it elevates your level of customer service. The next thing leaders and managers can do really well that again has been studied and proven to be true is creating a team environment, and not only a team environment, but an environment where they have shared goals and where they talk about those goals at least weekly, by I would say at least bi-weekly, better daily or weekly when it comes to those goals. And the actual study that was done in corporate America shows that when managers talk to their staff about their goals and about the goals of the company, they are 40% more likely to actually hit those goals when they talked about it bi-weekly versus monthly.
Mm.
40% more, almost twice as likely to reach your goals when you talk about the goal of the month bi-weekly, every 2 weeks instead of once a month. So we try, I'm like, hey, talk about the goals every day then, because it's probably going to be increased even more. So the more you can talk about your goals and the more you can talk about how you as a team are going to reach that goal,
Mm.
the better you're going to be. The best teams in Genesis are the teams that meet every single day. They do their morning muster, which is like a 15-minute meeting, talking about a core value, how they're going to use it, the goals of the sales for the day, the goals of the sales for the week, and the goals of the sales for the month and where they are, and then how they're going to attack the teams or the clients coming in today and how they're going to set them up for success. Those are the teams that always do the best, that always sell the most. And so teams that are collaborative and supportive, they're going to build confidence because they're going to be able to trust each other. And you're going to create a culture that promotes the risk taking, that promotes the innovation, that promotes that next level to build something that is beyond what they're going to be able to build individually.
One of the things that our California clinics do that I hadn't seen prior is the shout outs. Every time they sell something, doesn't matter who it is, they go on and they put in workplace, sold a core biotic, sold a weight loss package, sold a cool sculpting package. I mean, they go on and then it's like the team is supporting each other, but then also the whole company can see like, hey, they're killing it. They sold, 500 bottles of core biotic this month. It's like you get this opportunity to celebrate with your team when you're sharing in the success as it goes day by day. That momentum builds. And it's like every time you sell something, every time you do right by a client, they're posting their after pictures when somebody's hit a weight loss goal. It's like those things constantly in your face give you more excitement about your job. And it's like, as a team, you see your team members doing something, and we all have a little bit of a competitive nature. It's like, well, if you sold one, I can sell two.
Right.
And, and
Exactly.
you get this little fun competition going, like in a healthy way, this fun competition where they're playing to do better and better and better every day. And it's like there's some magic in that. When I see them posting, I think it's really, really awesome.
Yeah, and again, you want when they're doing that, you celebrate those wins. You celebrate the big wins, you celebrate the small wins, and doing the shout outs for your team and making sure that you're publicly building morale, and you want them to do more of those amazing things. So publicly praising and rewarding people who like consistently act within our core values is what we're trying to do, always on a consistent basis, over and over and over. And because just like my children, it's going to take a long time for them to develop and learn and improve. And it's no different for your employees. It's no different for your teammates. It's going to take them a long
Mhm.
time to improve and develop and grow. And we've had some clinic directors that were kind of thrown into clinic directors, and they were rough around the edges. I'm not gonna lie, some of them even sucked. But the longer they were in it, the more that they learned, the more that we built them up and built up that confidence, the more that competence came, and now they're succeeding and they're continuing to succeed more and more and more. But you guys, steady progress is still fucking progress. You need to realize that, because the number one thing I hear from clinic directors still is that, oh, this person just isn't getting it. Or business owners, this person just isn't getting it. These people just don't get it. Well, yeah, because they're not fucking obsessed by like you are, which is fine. You don't have to have people obsessed like you are as the leader. You should be fucking obsessed. Everyone else, they're not going to be as obsessed as you, but they can be pretty crazy about what you're doing. But they're not going to be maniacally obsessed. Nobody's going to be as maniacally obsessed as me. They're not. Nobody's going to miss some of their kids growing up. Nobody's going to leave their wife in the hospital when she gave birth. Nobody's going to do that. I am. But that being said, at the same time, you need to realize that the more time and opportunities that you give your staff, you offer the personal development, you offer the leadership training, you offer the outside coaching that you vetted. Obviously, we've talked about
Mhm.
that you vetted, and allow your staff and team members to grow personally as well as professionally. Those people are going to become your leaders in your company. They'll stay the leaders in your company. They won't want to go anywhere else. They'll have that confidence, and they'll have the knowledge that you support them in what they're trying to do.
And I would add to that, they're also going to have uh, a what do I want to say, relatability to their teams that are growing because they started out maybe at where their teams currently are. So they know what it's like to maybe not have that confidence at the beginning and what is needed to build it so that they can be confident. So these people can be relatable to their teams. Like, I was where you are. I understand what you're going through. And here's how I did it to get to where I am. So they're going to be able to turn around and do that same thing for the people that they are leading and watching their teams grow to a confident level. And you continue to build that way, and you end up having a lot of very committed team members.
Yeah, 100%. Agreed. In closing, guys, look, you want to make sure that you are consistently investing in your people. You're building a culture of growth. Growth is one of our core values. Innovation is one of our core values. Determination is one of our core values. Teamwork is one of our core values. It all goes together. It all goes to building confidence in the end. The more you can educate Educate, educate, educate. That's not only your staff, but that's also your clients. The more you can educate both parties, the more confident they're going to be. The more confident your staff is going to be that what they are offering is a solution to clients' problems. And the more confident your clients are going to be that, hey, this solution that they presented to me is something that I want and something that I need and something that's going to solve my problem. You do both of those, it's going to improve both your confidence and competence naturally, and it's going to improve your sales. So that's all we have for you today, guys. Amanda, any final thoughts on this subject?
Well, what I was just thinking about is, I mean, we've shared some really great insights, but there's a lot to know, and it's like unpacking all of the things that it takes to run and build a business, which you've done very well over multiple businesses. It's like people need to tap in to what you offer. You've got all these free courses on your website. If you really are listening and you're like, where do I begin? How do I do all of this? The resources that you offer are really my final thoughts. I mean, people need to tap into that because there is a lot to know. But if you dedicate some time and energy to really studying out, step by step, one piece of the puzzle at the time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That pink elephant. How do you eat a pink elephant? Visualize a pink elephant and take one bite at a time.
Right.
Going to your website and finding out those resources that you do have available, how you did it in Genesis. This is not, hey, you have to do it this way, but this is how you did it, which is really, it's like, take pieces and parts, make it work for your business, see where you're at, and see what resources are available on dralexspinoso.com so that you can start to implement some of these things step by step. This didn't happen overnight. Like we've talked about many times before, it's years and years and years, and we're continuing to grow, continuing to innovate, and it's going to keep getting better and better. But also, if somebody's in the medical business and they want to join the mastermind, you and Vaughn is an incredible mindset coach, coaches billionaire mindsets. And what you guys are going to offer with your mastermind. So if somebody wants to apply to that, they can go to they can see it on your website, but what's the direct website for that?
It's Join Charismatics. So joincharismatics.com.
Yeah. And then checking you out, all the things on Instagram and YouTube, more podcasts, just tapping in. If you're really curious about growing your business and you need to know some more step by step, we have a lot of great resources, and Dr. Alex has a lot of free material on the website. So make sure you check it out. And if you like what you're hearing, share it with a friend. Don't keep it to yourself. Let somebody know about it. Comment, tell us what's made a big impact in your own life so we know what to share more of, and maybe something you didn't like so we know what not to talk about.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Do both. We want both constructive criticism and tell us how awesome we are.
As much as we possibly can. Yeah. So thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll see you next time.